Welcome to the Lockdown Tactics podcast, a special edition this week, Snoddy. 12 weeks ago with the conversation. It's been brilliant. It has. I've really enjoyed it. I need to ask you though, how's the presenting been? How have you enjoyed it?
Do you know what, Boydy? It seems like a million miles away for that phone call, mate, and I've loved it. I've loved every second. I've loved getting to know yourself in more depth. The guests that have come on, sort of more in depth with them as well, which has been really good. Getting to see how they live their life, the problems away from the field, on the field, obviously other sports as well, rugby, golf, boxing, heavyweight champion of the world, like coming on. It's yeah, Boydy, I've really enjoyed it. But listen, we're here to stay. The people have spoke. This is a go-to podcast we say every week. We started this off to try and help people through lockdown. The response, Boydy, has been nothing short of incredible. The people getting in touch with the podcast, they say how much it's helping them through, lockdown and how we've actually got their heroes to actually speak about their problems. It actually helps them. That's why we set it up, Boydy. So I think going forward, I think we need to really engage in with the public and bring them involved into the podcast, is what we spoke about. And I think it was just to kind of, reach out to some big names in sport. We've been really grateful, first and foremost, Boydy, for them to come on. But it's for them to give up their time and tell their story has been incredible.
It has been, but I think, for me as well, Snoddy, and I've seen it over the last few weeks, is at the start it was a lockdown, it was getting through lockdown, but I think it's actually went that step further now. And we speak about the mental health message. The amount of people that have been in contact saying, you've not only helped me get through the lockdown period, it's now a case of, I seem to be learning from things. I'm going and reading, I'm going and speaking to friends, family to actively seek help, opening up. So I think what we do know is that what we've done has worked. And I think that is the most important thing, that we realise that we've got a platform that we can get guests on and help. But you're right. I think we need to maybe go and look more towards the public, engage with them, which, hopefully over the next couple of weeks, we can come up with a plan going forward that allows us to do that. And we can go for there. But, you're right. In terms of the big names, the big stories, they'll keep coming. The guests will keep coming. We can go a little bit behind the scenes when we had a chat the other day there, and do we continue to do it? It was a no-brainer. And then when you actually reach out, and the guys who are, what would you say, want to actually come on, it's not a case of maybe before you've been maybe chasing a few people, whereas now it's a case of I want to come on, I want to speak. So listen, the big names will keep coming, and it's I think it's a credit to the podcast on its own that the calibre of guests that want to come on will definitely help our audience.
Listen, Boydy, I think when you look into the podcast and you actually go in depth at what it is, it started off where it was speaking to people, and then it was getting a mental health message, and it was I think when you actually start to see the guests for who they are and what they've done, the charity, what they're doing behind the scenes. These guys, the levels they've went on, sort of the elite level. I just think that it is a credit to the podcast, and it's a credit to a lot of the people that have got in touch with the podcast to try and share the podcast. That's what we're all about. That's what we want. We want people to share the message. We want people to share the content we've got. We want people to engage in. That's what it's all about. We've had quizzes, we've had debates, we've had Q&As with boys club teams. When you look over every single thing, Boydy, it's all about giving back. The prizes, the competitions. I think every single thing, Boydy, it would have been. I don't think it would have been the right move for us, mate, if we did stop and listen. The people have spoke. It's what they want. They want more of it. Me and you want more of it because we've really enjoyed it. And I think the best thing you can do in this life, Boydy, is give people your time. For us to sort of give your time, for the guests to give their time, to give a bit back to the people. Everything about the podcast is given. So that's
I see on that as well, though, Snoddy. I think that when you look back and you managed to get me off my fat bum as well and go and get a half marathon done. So little things like that. And over £3,000 to my own charity, and will be £3,000 to the Dad Barima Foundation as well. So, in terms of people speaking out, we're actually giving back there as well. So, I mean, when you look at the guests that we've had on, but I think that we need to actually have, and I know I said to you at the start, but how have you enjoyed, the presenting side of it? Has it been? I mean, I know you're a joker. You love your banter. Totally get that, but it's a total different. I mean, I've been fortunate enough that with Sky, I've been able to do a bit of myself, but it's a total different skill set. How's it been for you?
Boy, did you know what? I've actually, when you say it like that, I've really enjoyed that side of it. Like, it's something that I'm coming to the later years of my career, and
no chance, mate. No chance. You've got years.
Yeah, no, I have got a few years left, Boy. I'm enjoying. Just I think the biggest thing with the Premier League, Boy, is so intense. You're constantly on it, and it's the hard work doesn't stop. So for me to come home, see my family, and sort of switch off and try and focus on giving back to the people, donating your time, I have really enjoyed it. The presenting side's been really good. Knowing sort of the guest that's come on, it's been intimidating sitting there with your hero Henrik Larsson and sitting there with a heavyweight world champion. I wish it was intimidating for you when you offered him out for a fight.
By the way, yeah, that's the only thing we spoke about. By the way, Tyson Fury's not been seen since. He's been in hiding. He's been in hiding, the big man.
He's right there for you.
He's been. Do you know something though? We've had little glimpse of it. I'm going to ask. Everybody speaks about it. I need a Robrt Snodgrass story on his best prank. Everybody goes on about it. Just for this episode, it's a special. We're looking back in the last 12 weeks and why we've decided to stay on. But I need what has been the Robrt Snodgrass prank, his best one. Let me hear
it. There has been that many, mate. But I'll tell you one that obviously never told to Robbo, but he's Andy Robertson phones me up. I got a snooker table. I was injured, Boy. I need to pass the time. I says, you know what? I need to pass the time. So watch snooker table, Boy. Always loved watching snooker. So I thought, got a spare room there. It's happening. Me, Alan McGregor, Andy Robertson, tournaments galore. The Scottish, brilliant, incredible.
Was that when you were at Hull?
This was when I was at Hull, mate. And Robbo phones me. He says, Snods, listen, that table, it's incredible. I want involved. Give me the guy's number. Not a problem. I'll send you it right now. I sent him the assistant manager's number, right? He didn't have his number, Butch. So he's phoned the guy and he said, hello, how you doing? It's Andy Robertson here. Just looking to see if you can make the snooker table. Robrt Snodgrass, pass your number on. He Butch like, Robert, it's Butch. He's went, what are you talking about? He's went, Robert saying he's like, oh no, he's absolutely done me. Sorry, Butch, I need to go. He just bolted. And I thought, he's phoned me up, mate. See you, you're a plonker. And I was like, Butch, no making that table, no. I lined him up, but you know what, Boydie? Just small things. I think. Listen, the day you stop wanting to have a laugh, Boydie, I think it's time to chop. No, listen, mate. There is time to have a bit of crack. But you see on the podcast, there's always that humour. We're always having a laugh. We're always having a joke. There is the serious side of it, obviously the mental health. But what a laugh we've had, Boydie. The guests coming on, everybody after it, Boydie. You've says and the producers here as well. Everybody, they've all received good messages saying how they really enjoyed it, how comfortable they felt. Anything you need, anything to share. It's been so good, and to get back to it, I've loved hosting it, mate. I've really enjoyed it. And who'd have thought it, Boydie, for that phone call all that time ago?
So on the positive mental health message we've had, they've been so good. But looking back over the guests we've had, who's been your favourite?
I've got a few, Boydie. I've got a few. I can't miss my wee mucker at Robbo. I absolutely love that one. Coming on and talk about his chat.
Use are tight, eh? Use are super tight.
Incredible. No, listen, there's been some highlights, Boydie, but there's been some great messages in there that I've remembered. I think when you look back through Robbo speaking about and that we're saying about that this is a lad, Boydie, who's just won the Premier League fresh, and he's saying so openly. I talked to my wife. I've got there's a psychologist in within the club that's really helped me. I work on a lot of that side because I know how serious it is. That there for me, and that's when I said any young lad watching that clip where you've got a Premier League winner, you've got a Champions League winner, that Scotland captain, and he's still working at his game to be better, whether it's off the field, whether it's on the field. I know Robbo's got a chef, got nutritionist, the fitness work he does behind the scenes. But that's it. Because you've got there doesn't mean that you need to switch off. It gets even harder, and that's what
he said that himself.
You know, constantly speaking to Robbo through it. We speak most weeks, and obviously he's got a family now. He didn't have kids when he was at Maple Hill, but I've seen him grow as a father. So listen, I really enjoyed that, Boydy. What about yourself? What was your best moment?
See on that, Snoddy, when you even with Robbo, it just shows you win something and you want more. You want to get better. You don't. You never ever settle for what you've got. He wants to get better again. So it was brilliant to hear him. From the bottom of from Queen's Park build up as well. It was brilliant.
Boydy, see that there, right? So what we try and focus on in the podcast, it doesn't matter obviously what stage in your life if you do speak to people, right? And there is a point where I feel like if you do feel as if things are going against you in life, no matter what it is, within every one of the guests, there's always been a success story. There's always been a drive. There's always been Tyson Fury suffering for depression, coming back. There's always been Dan Fletcher, maybe coming back for injury.
Leon McKenzie
trying to commit suicide on several occasions, but comes back. Now he's a mental health ambassador. You can go through it. Beefy Johnston, know what to return for the changing room, comes back, got that smile on his face. He's got that connection with his family. So what we're trying to create within the podcast, Boydy, is that when you're seeing these sports stars open up and try to get a balance and a routine in their life, so we could sit there and go through loads of them, but the one for me was when you see John Terry at the very start, Boydy, a guy who's won everything you could possibly win, one of the best defenders that the Premier League's ever seen, but he's retired and he's still wanting to be better as a coach. He's still driving forward to earn money for the NHS and to make a wish, £250,000, him and his family. Boydy, the stuff that's been on this podcast, the content has been nothing short.
Danny Rose raising money.
Danny Rose for me was one that a lot of the perception and what people see Danny Rose, we get a totally different side. The Danny Rose in that podcast, but he's doing all the charity work, Boydy, the money that he'd raised, the money that he's
over 60 grand, Snods.
Over £60,000, and you see in that as well. Danny Rose lost his uncle. And then Danny Rose going through a lot of the mental health stuff himself, coming back, getting that smile on his face, reaching out to people. There's a common theme here, Boydy, that I've said within this podcast is the higher you go, the more pressure and the more you open yourself up to be in a position where mental problems will happen because you're constantly creating a competition within yourself. So you need to take the good with the bad, but you need to create a routine when it doesn't go the way you want, that you've got the right circles round about you to actually, for one, how you deal with it, and two, accept that failure's okay, Boydy. It's okay. It's understand. You can go to understand, Boydy, that it's okay. You've had many setbacks in your career.
I think to touch on that, Snods, and I think it's a great point what you make, but through the charity, I've done a couple of lives recently as well, and the message that we're always trying to put out there, and in terms of social media part of it, unfollow, block, delete, get them out of your life if they annoy you, if they're bullying you, if they're being nasty towards you, and you'll know exactly what I'm about to say here is that, see, in football, you have to make a lot of sacrifices, and you might have friends where you've been growing up that you're still close with, but you knew at that moment in time, I need to take myself away from that environment, to that self-drive, that tunnel vision to get to wherever you wanted to get to in life. And that's one thing that stuck out with me, with a lot of the guests. they've had to sacrifice a lot to get to, you know. So we've had 4 Champions League winners on here. We've had 2 world champion boxers. You know, the guests have been unbelievable, but it's the drive and determination, the sacrifices they had to make. And what we are saying is that for them to make the sacrifice they've had to make in terms of diet, in terms of you know, sleeping properly, the routine, cutting themselves away from their friends and everything at a young age to be successful. Going back to what I'm saying regarding the charity, what you're asking with people is to unfollow, block, delete. Do not engage with people who are negative around you. And people can turn and say, oh, it's difficult and everything. You know, as it stands right now, we're not really out and about in a social circle. So now would be the opportunity, if there is. Because a lot of people are out there saying, oh, you know, I want to see what they're up to. I want to forget it. See if they're no good for you. Get them out of your life.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that when you look at every successful sportsman or woman, and and if they ask them what the first thing they will say, the sacrifices they had to make, you know, to get to the level. Going back to the one that really I really enjoyed for me was, and we've spoke openly about this over a number of weeks now as well, was Darren Fletcher for me. You know, having seen Darren and played with him from schoolboys 14, 15 all the way up through, represented every level at Scotland with him as well. He's a great guy. He would do anything for charity as well, by the way. He does a lot. He came up for the Sportsman Dinner last year with the charity. Spoke really well there as well. I really enjoy listening to him on the TV. I really enjoy being around him, a positive person. But when you look back at the podcast right at the start with him, in terms of his illness, not wanting to get out of his bed, not wanting to speak to anybody about it, and then opening up to, arguably, for me, would be one of the most difficult people to actually open up to go to your man, because you know how hard that is in that fight, to go to your manager and speak so openly with Sir Alex Ferguson, you know, and he told us all about it in the podcast. And then when you start to realize, like, we're saying to people, go and open up, go and speak to someone, go and speak to your mum and dad, go and speak to your brother or sister, go and speak to your friend. For what Darren was going through, to go and actually sit down there with Sir Alex Ferguson, who, listen, he might be an intimidating character and everything, what we see, but what it does show you is that when you go, what a lot of people do see, you know, on camera or in touchline when he was managing stuff like that, is totally different to the person you see behind the scenes.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that when Darren went back and you speak about, you know, having that relationship with Sir Alex Ferguson, having the relationship that he's got with his wife, his kids, and I know it sounds like, well, why would he not have that? But, you know, to overcome the illness he had, the struggles that he had, missing the amount of football that he missed, for me, he would have been the most capped player ever for Scotland. We spoke about that on the podcast. And I think that to have the setbacks that he had and still to come back and win the Champions League and win trophies for Manchester United, it's brilliant. And I really enjoyed that episode with Darren.
Boydy, see when you obviously speak about there, when we're asking people to open up, to speak, to, you know, reach out to people. Everybody at the end of the pods, it's been a common theme about, you know, they'll say the thing, talk to people, speak to people. We had Henrik Larsson encouraging you to go and see somebody, to speak to people. Do you feel as if, obviously we've been at this now for 3-4 months, do you feel as if you've had some questions that needed answered? Have they been answered? Have you really enjoyed it? Do you feel as if you've needed to do this for yourself, for your family, for other families, for maybe, if that can help one person, Boydy, it can maybe help a family? Do you feel as if it's been the right thing looking over the 4 months?
Definitely, Snoddy. And I think when you go back to the conversation we had right at the start, and you know, we've spoke about it as well. Had it have been a conversation of, Snoddy, do you want to start a podcast and we'll go and have a laugh and everything, it wouldn't have happened. Yep. But because, you know, the whole thing was, let's go out here and make a difference to people that might have been struggling, that might want a laugh in lockdown. But the one thing we're going to do is continue to drive this message surrounding mental health and get the positive stories out there to hopefully make a difference, to maybe encourage people, if they're in a good place, to go and open up and speak to people. That's exactly where we were. That's exactly what we wanted to do. And I think for me, It's made a big difference. I spoke about it on the podcast with Henrik. It was a case of me playing the third person, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what I found my comfort was at the time. Setting up the charity was massive, and allowing me to do that. And I always said that if it helped one person, it would make it. It would mean so much. I'd be so proud of that. I think it's went on a lot more than that. We've helped hundreds of people now, but the thing that keeps coming back here, you just want more of it. You want more in terms of, I want to help more people. I want to get, and going back to what you said, the messages that have been coming in on social media and even private messages that's been sent, what a difference we're making to people. What a difference. And that is the key thing, that if something is just, we could sit here and talk rubbish to each other all night, and probably a lot of people, but that was brilliant or that was rubbish. But see, as long as we've got a crystal clear message in there and it is crystal clear, if you are struggling, go and pick up the phone or go and speak to someone. That is the crux of what we're trying to get to here. And I think if you look back at all our guests, maybe in a roundabout way, but it's all ended up at the same, what would you say? They've all ended up saying the exact same thing, that as soon as I opened up, I felt the weight of the world off my shoulders. And that has been probably the biggest satisfaction for me, looking at it, that the message that we're driving, these superstars as such are saying the exact same thing. And, it's been brilliant. Also, the Carol Frampton one I thought was brilliant, because that's on the verge of maybe, because he's a 2-time world champion. He wants to become a 3-time world champion. Spoke about money, but it wasn't his drive. His drive was he wanted to win the world champ. He wanted to be a 3-time world champion, but he wanted a good funeral. He wanted to be remembered as a good guy.
That was brilliant. But see, for me in that podcast, the bit that touched me, and I spoke to you when we came off air about it, and I thought, Jesus, this lad, top of the world, 2-weight world champion, and he says when he lost his phone didn't ring. I just thought, he wants to be remembered as being a good lad, and then when he loses, his phone stops ringing. I'm so glad he said it in the podcast, Boydy, because it gave everybody an insight into the people's life at the very top, the elite level lifestyle, where people think it's great, but what you're trying to work out is who's close to you, who's your circles, who's going to be there for Kris Boyd or Carol Frampton when things aren't going well, when the goals dry up, when you hang up your boots. And that's exactly what happened to Carol Frampton. His phone stopped ringing, and he said it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I started to realise, without digging more into it, who was who, and who was just with me for the success instead of the person that I'm. And that's exactly what people might be going through on a daily basis, Boydy, that they don't realise that, the people run about them is, as you say, block, delete, unfollow. That's in a structure, and that's in a daily life, Boydy. That's what happens. That's what happens, where it doesn't matter if somebody goes, oh, but you earn this amount of money, take it all. It doesn't matter, because all people are looking for is happiness. Money doesn't certainly make you happy. Yeah, there's certain bits, but it's the people around you. It's the people when, your life isn't always going to be plain sailing, Boydy. Do you know what I mean? And that's exactly.
It's not, they see on that as well, and I think that it's really important that we mention this as well. That I remember right at the start as well. You said that one of your mates had lost their father as well, but he's just actually completed a marathon the other day. A marathon.
Yep.
Marathon. So
like
there's 2 ways you can look at it. You can either say, you know what, I'm going to go and attack this head on, and I'm going to do things to make my loved ones proud of me. Or I'm going to sit and blame them, in terms of if I've lost someone, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And I know it can be difficult to overcome, but what you need to do is pick yourself back up and get out there again, because believe me, when people are up there looking down, personally, my thoughts would be that, you know what, I want to be proud of who you are. And there you take your mate there who lost his dad. Obviously, it's a horrible situation, but it wasn't even 12 weeks. It was actually shorter than that, and he's completing a marathon.
Yeah, Boydy, do you know what? It's see, when you look at it like that and you mention it there, it's just brings back memories, and it's obviously it's no ideal. We get in one hand, we get Scott McLaughlin, played 600, 700 games in the Scottish League. He's run a marathon in 6 days because of the podcast touched him in certain ways and the way he went out there, and he was listening to every episode, he said, and he's run a marathon, raised over £3,500, donating it to the charity, again, giving back. Then he encourages other people, and the people run about him. It's a snowball effect, Boydy. Exactly what we're doing. You affect one person, it affects everybody else. And then it's the positive people like that. And then Jamie sees my mate Jamie Watson, who then sees everything that he's doing. And then before you know it, the two of them have run the marathon. They're a day there. Jamie lost his dad and could have went under, could have crumbled. The poor me, he's feeling sorry for myself, but he's trying to show people, he's trying to show his family, his brother, his nephews, his mum, to say, I'm not going to go under. I'm going to show everybody that because you lose somebody doesn't mean that you're going to go backwards. You need to keep moving forward. Boy, that's the message within this podcast. And you know what? It's been incredible just even getting to see that, for them to raise money for charities and help other people. It's spreading it's a powerful message. Boy, do you look up in the newspapers? All my mates sending me clips for the newspapers, the lockdown tactics, headlines everywhere. Boy, we started. It was a phone call 12 weeks ago, and before you know it.
By the way, just think, I nearly fell asleep. I nearly fell asleep in the phone call as well. I had you on for half an hour, mate. Your banter was. At least it's got a bit better through the podcast, mate. But honestly, that night I was like,
I just get you on that prank phone call list.
By the way, honestly, I was actually sitting thinking, I've heard these stories about Snoddy, and by the way, it could be funny, but I tell you what, after that night, I thought to myself, I'm going to have to go and find a new wingman here. That's not happening.
I'm going to phone you with that cheese and ham baguette you used to get out of training.
with Willie. Sorry, with Nazy, but sorry, I've got. Do you know what? We spoke there about, what would you say, the guys who are right in the public eye and everybody knows them. Do you know what was arguably, Fletcher loved, but do you know what was arguably my favourite? Willie Collum.
Aye, Willie Collum.
It was so passionate. It was speaking from the heart. It was everybody thinks that these referees, they're against us. He doesn't want to make mistakes, but to separate his job in terms of refereeing, the guy's still got a personal life. He's married. He's got kids, and to hear that message of, I was out the car for 5 minutes going Christmas shopping, and my missus turned to me and said, we need to go back home, William. Yep. That's not right.
Do you know what though, Boydy? A lot of people message me after that podcast and says, I didn't realise how good a guy Willie Collum was. I've never heard him speak. So what did we say in the podcast? Because referees have kind of, they make the decision, you never see them again. So we try to get them out in the open. Let's hear them, because people would maybe understand their decision a hell of a lot better. They'd understand them as people. And that was why everybody was messaging me saying, what Willie Collum is he's a brilliant guy, and he's had all this fantastic career, but nobody knew who he was. They'd just really seen the big decisions he'd made or whatever it was in the elite level that he'd been at. So no, it was brilliant to kind of see Willie so open and honest.
The thing that really struck home, and by the way, I've been guilty as well as a pundit, that you say these things and you actually think it's just a mannequin. It's a referee. He's a mannequin. You know what I mean? Like, he can take it, but to actually hear someone speak for you to realise, you know what, he's actually a human being that is going through the exact same things as everybody else is. Yet we're adding to it. And we spoke about it once. I think once Willie went off, that us, well, not so much me. I'm finished now. The only referee that's got to worry about me is at 5-a-side, and that's just to get me off the pitch because I'm knackered after 10 minutes. But as players, we've all got a responsibility.
Yep.
Because what we do on the pitch transfers into the stand, and then the punters in the stand think so. If we're sitting hurling abuse at a referee on the pitch for a decision he got it wrong, okay, you're frustrated. We get that. But I think there needs to be a change, from players to realise that, listen, we all make mistakes. We all, what would you say? We all, we deal with them in different ways.
Yep.
But the way that we, as players, speak to referees on a pitch, you're not trying to tell me that doesn't have an impact on the way that fans look at, referees and feel as if the players are doing it, I can do it. So us players, we need to be more, I think, better role models. For referees and that, and sorry for the fans that would then help the referees. Personally, I think that.
Well, Willie Collum, Boydy, if you remember, the message he gave at the very end where he says, yeah, I see people saying about talk to people and I see all the higher people bringing out all these percentages and stats. He says, but invest into mental health, invest money into making it better. That's the message, Boydy, that for me was the best message on this podcast I've heard, because that's the truth. If you invest your time, first and foremost, and invest money to getting the right people on board, no matter any walk of life, you will create a difference. You will definitely change people's lives. You'll get.
He said that.
He did say that. He did say that, and he said that. Do you know what? He's obviously felt it first and foremost. Me and you felt it in your life on several occasions through ups and downs throughout your career, and I guarantee that a lot of people that have been listening to podcasts but no sitting in the background and maybe no one to reach out, they've definitely felt mental health. Everybody is, whether it's women, men. It doesn't matter what it is. You if you feel it, you need to speak about it. You need to if the people that are there haven't got the money that's involved, which I get it comes for the higher above, that people need to invest, whether that's time, whether it's money. Try and help people. Try and make a difference. Well, that's the biggest thing. But all these people, all these top guests that are coming on, and it takes it into what Henrik Larsson says about his brother.
Oh, that
was incredible. Who would have known that, Boydy? Who would have known that Henrik Larsson, through his career, lost his brother to drugs? Who would have known that, Boydy? We had that live at the podcast, and it takes me back so much in my childhood when it's for me with my brother, and seeing I'm best mates with my brother now. And I loved him back then. He was never a bad person. He just had an illness. He had an illness which we've seen Paul Merson speak about this. Illness is the hardest thing ever to get grips with. If you don't accept it, if you don't accept your beat, if you don't accept there's a problem. And he says that for me, gambling was way out on its own, which took me new by surprise through drugs and alcohol. And then it goes back to obviously the situation with you losing your brother, Henrik losing his brother, and my brother leaving suicide notes, me being a young kid, a very vital stage in my career, football career. And I remember that. I remember it. My family, it affected us, like you wouldn't believe. And you see the guy now, 18, 20 years clean, and just driving forward, taking everything in his stride. What a top guy. And it just shows you that if you do open up and you do speak to people and you do want to get help, but you know what? If you want to accept that you've got a problem, you need to accept it, Boydy. That's the biggest thing for me. Reaching out and having your people. That's exactly what we're doing at the podcast, but we're trying to spread it. We just to read some figures out to you, Boydy, and read some facts, is we talk about creating your community of people at home, who you reach out to, our community of people within this podcast, the people that have kept us going, the people that have supported it, the people that have shared. Let's get into social media, Boydy. I'll tell you, probably, I don't know if you realise this, but I was talking to the producers before you came on. 3.3 million impressions, Boydy, over Twitter alone. 29 Instagram followers, 29,000 Instagram followers. A post reach of 200,000 nearly, Boydy, on Facebook. All from a phone call 12 weeks ago, Boydy. So this is the reason why we want to keep going. Now we're going to go even further. We're looking into the market for, now we've just started taking it on for sponsorship, relationships going forward, on how we can grow the podcast, how we can really...
Sorry if I cut. See, on relationships, I think you've got to look at people, at Sky Sports who've used their stuff. I think it's been fantastic. Jim White at TalkSport. TalkSport have used a few things. Jim, great guy, love him. He's hopefully he's one that we might get on here in the near future as well. And also the Scottish media as well. I think that a lot of the times, we criticise, and we like to criticise our local our national game, our national media and everything. But I tell you what I think I've found over the last 12 months as well, if you go out there and do something positive like we have done, I tell you what, they'll get behind you.
Yeah, no, 100%, Boydy. Just looking at the stuff, Boydy, before we come on, Soccer AM, Sport Bible, Tubes, everybody sharing the stuff, these massive names. Jack Wilshere is going to become an ambassador for this. I'm telling you, he's been incredible, sharing everything. Andy Robertson, he's reaching out to actually share the stuff and promote it. Darren
Farley, he didn't want to just come on himself. He decided to come on as 20 different people, mate.
Farley was brilliant. That is the most I've laughed, Boydy, in a long time.
How good was it? How good was it to speak to your old manager?
Brilliant. It was brilliant. When he done, I think it was Michael Owen, when he just came out with it, I thought, Jesus, this guy's something special. No, people, Boydy, the names that are following the podcast. So, before obviously we spoke about the relationships. We are looking to get into sponsorship, Boydy. This is the go-to podcast, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. We're here to stay. The people have spoke. The numbers speak for themselves. In 3-4 months, it's been nothing short of incredible, Boydy. Over 100,000 probably listens, I think it is, in the audio version. Incredible, Boydy. I've loved every second. It's brilliant. I said to you, it's been special for you and your family. Just to be part of that journey alone, it's been incredible. So, yeah, long may it continue, mate.
No, you're right, and it's been brilliant to work with you over the last 12 months as well. It's 12 months, 12 weeks. It's been a good. I think that you can always tell when you've got that working relationship, and it's the exact same with players and managers and everything. That you know what? See if you got on with people and you can have a laugh and a joke. It makes it a hell of a lot easier, doesn't it?
Brilliant, mate.
I think, as you say there, in terms of going forward, looking for partnerships and sponsors, come and be part of it, because I tell you what we want to do here is go and tackle the mental health problem. Be part of it. Be part of something, going forward, and we can all tackle it together as a community. And, I think that we can't be any clearer than that the numbers are there. We've shown that it can work. They are only going to get bigger. The guests that we've already got lined up, we're not going to reveal them all, but I think that you will be surprised, and there's more world champions to come. So, listen, for us here, it has been fantastic over the lockdown period. But we are at a stage now where we need to look to take it to that next level. And it's like everything else, we want people to come and be part of it. And you could sell sand to the Arabs, mate. So I'll let you get that pitch in.
I'll tell you what, I've within this lockdown, mate, you couldn't run 1 kilometre. You're running half marathons. So if I can get you to run a half marathon, I can do it, Boydy. Do you know that? It's brilliant. We've went from easy, talk about your bad days when you're flossing with a 12-inch out of Subway. It's brilliant. But
the only thing, by the way, before you go back on your sales pitch, what I'm going to say is, I need to get it back up, mate. Did you manage to find the wee chocolate coins down the stair? Robert was on asking, did you find them, mate?
He said, "Me, Boydy, you had me tied up. I was in a straight jacket. I couldn't do it."
Oh, brilliant, man. By the way, that was. See, as soon as he said, when I seen the medals, and I thought to myself, there's no danger I can bring. Imagine trying to compare a Scottish Cup and a Scottish Cup. A League Cup and a Scottish Premier. Brilliant to have him, by the way. But in terms of pulling out the Premier League, the World Club Championship, the Champions League, you're all right, Robbo.
Aye, brilliant. It just it was incredible. But do you know what, boy? That's the level of stuff that we've got at the podcast. That is why we're saying we want to invest in now to really engage in with building relationships with people that's only going to help a positive message, which is mental health. Bring on the big names that's happening, but keep growing it. Grow it to a level, share it, spread the word, spread the podcast to your friends, your family, because there'll be something in there, I promise you, that will touch you, and there'll be something in there that will brighten up your day, because it's full of laughter, joy, sadness, emotion, everything you can think of in the podcast. Boydy. It's been there. We've had it.
And Tyson, I tell you what,
Tyson Boydy saying he didn't care if he lived or died getting into the Klitschko fight. We've got the heavyweight champion in the world that's came back from depression, from suicidal thoughts, wanted to throw himself, drive himself off a bridge, and then get into the Klitschko fight saying that he didn't care if he lived or died, telling us that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Back to that phone call, Boydy, 12 weeks ago, and we've got that type of stuff lined up. So listen, it's going to be another fantastic 12 weeks going forward. I'm so excited. The details will be on, the partnership stuff will be on within the podcast. The details will be out there for anybody that's wanting to invest in, to be part of the journey going forward with the Lockdown Tactics podcast, bringing you the big names. Get in touch with the podcast. You'll see the details on the website. And as I say to you, we enjoy the journey, Boydy, and we keep moving forward. We
definitely do, my man. I've thoroughly enjoyed it myself. So from that, we'll finish off. And it's just to say that through the lockdown, it's been fantastic for the engagement we've had. And by the way, something else that we forgot was the prizes as well. Some of them have been top notch, and the guys to give away their boots and their strips and stuff like that. So that's been fantastic. They'll continue to come. And for what the support that we've had during the lockdown, has been unbelievable. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a credit to the Lockdown Tactics and everybody that's been involved with it, that people have been engaged with. So for the last message, mate, we're here to stay, and it's onwards and upwards. By the way, it's a bit like the Hammers, mate. It's onwards and upwards.
On yourself, Boydy. You're a big hammer, you.
Big hammer. I'm getting my season ticket next year, mate.
Love it.
The only thing is, will I get to see you?
No, I'll be in the fancy blowing the bubbles.
By the way, you've got to finish with that. There you go. Snoddy's forever blowing bubbles.
Brilliant. Boydy, listen, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Podbeam, our Spotify. Listen, all the details is going to be on there for the investment and the relationships going forward. And once again, stay safe.
Cheers. Thank you.